record on this computer. So we are live on Facebook, and I again forgot to hit the record button. This is Frid from the Joy of Syntax with Jacqui Howe from Springwood Sanctuary, a healing center for horses, donkeys, and humans. And Jacqui is willing to explain to us a very important forgiveness ritual, and then she's going to lead us through it. And I'm so excited about this. So back to you, Jacqui.
Thank you so much, Frid, and thanks for facilitating the chat. So I was just saying, when you suddenly remembered you haven't pressed record, but thank you for doing this. It's really nice to share stuff with people.
It is.
It's one of those things that's come out of, you know, doing all this sort of lockdown and not being able to do retreats and stuff, that, you know, taking us time to explore different things online. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice and very much needed right now, I feel, and I'm very grateful that you're willing to share this with us. And I would like to remind those of you who are watching us live on Facebook, we cannot see your comments right now. We will definitely look at the comments afterwards, and Jacqui said she's totally willing to answer all the questions you might have. I don't think there will be any questions for me because I'm a language nerd, but we'll see. And so for those of you who are watching this on YouTube later, you are in for a treat, I think. So let's go.
Okay, good. And on the basis that people can't comment, if there's anything that I sort of cover that just doesn't sound at all clear, because it is quite a confusing sort of metaphysical or sort of topic, you know, so I'm trying to, what I've done is gone through all of my different notes on different workshops and books and videos that I've watched over the years, from Dr. Hugh Len, who brought Ho'oponopono into existence, and from various other practitioners, and tried to sort of condense it in a way that for me it sort of resonates and it makes sense. So yeah, I'm hoping that it does to you guys, but yeah, so yeah, please do shout if you think that doesn't sound very clear, please, Frid.
Okay, I will.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, I would like to just welcome everybody to this space. I'm going to have a little singing bowl sounding. And I want to share with you, I've got my beautiful candle here, which is an Aboriginal glass candle holder.
Oh, it's pretty.
And this is just to make a nice sacred space. So we're holding a beautiful, beautiful space with some sounds and some candles. And I invite you to do that when you're practicing something really, really special and sacred, like the Ho'oponopono ritual, or, you know, just a daily mindfulness meditation or guided meditation of some other type. It just really kind of creates that awareness of, you know, that it's something that you're really giving to yourself, and just honouring that time. And just making yourselves comfortable. So just feeling with a upright back, but not, you know, doesn't need to be rigid. Just comfortable, feeling your feet on the ground and your hands in your lap. Just taking a few moments to really just be here in this space, following your breath in and out of your body. And being aware of how your body feels in this moment. You don't need to do anything about it. We're not asking to change that, but just being aware of whether there are any tensions, which bits of your body feel nice and comfortable, and which not so. If you need to shift a bit in your seat so you're a little bit more comfortable. And just being really grateful for that beautiful breath that just breathes itself in our body. And being aware, which is very much the topic of our conversation today, really, of being aware of our thoughts when you've got into this nice quiet space. Have we got lots of mind chatter going on? Or are things quite gentle and peaceful and not too many thoughts racing around? And then by putting your attention right on this moment, right in your body as it is, with your breath coming in and out of your body, just helps your thoughts settle down into those that are here, right now, in this present moment, rather than all the thoughts about what we've done during the day or what we've got to do later. Just focusing on your breath. You don't need to control your breath, just being aware of how lovely it is that it just comes in and out of your body without having to do anything at all. Okay. Lovely. So, one of the reasons that I wanted to share Ho'oponopono with everybody is because it's really useful at helping to forgive ourselves. It's a Hawaiian, it's a self-awareness and healing, it's an updated version of an old Hawaiian healing ritual. And it was updated by a Hawaiian doctor called Dr. Hugh Len, who has done some extraordinary work with this process. And he's a very humble, self-effacing man who, at heart, has devised this really to be clear himself as much as possible. And his big thing, whenever he's interviewed or asked, is it's not about anybody else. He's not doing this work to work as a healer for anybody else. Whatever effects it has on anybody else or the world around him, it's purely so he can be as clear a channel as he can be. And we have only got responsibility for ourselves, and that's the only thing that we have control over. So as soon as you start trying to think about using this to heal somebody else or another person's situation or the world around us, then we're putting ourselves in an ego position. And he's very into just actually holding this space for ourselves and clearing ourselves. I think it's really helpful to have a way to be able to forgive ourselves on a really deep, compassionate level, especially if we are working as animal advocates and we have done things in the past that aren't so great as far as caring for or looking after animals. That if we have awareness now that we didn't before, it's easy to feel guilty. Very easy to feel guilty. That, oh, I wish I had looked after this or that or the other animal in the way that I'm doing this now, and
I hadn't eaten them.
And I was going to say, if we're vegan, it's really easy to feel guilty about, and not many of us are lucky enough to have been brought up vegan and never have eaten an animal or an animal product. But with that knowledge that you too have been like that, I too have been like that, and I've done these things, actually it's very difficult really to be judgmental of anybody else if we can be forgiving of ourselves and loving ourselves and compassionate to ourselves about what we've done in the past. I think what triggers a lot of people to be angry and judgmental is the fact that they haven't forgiven themselves. So every time that a sort of anger and frustration and judgment comes up, it generally is quite a good flag to sort of highlight to ourselves that, hey, that's a gift. That feeling is a gift that will kind of, that's something that we need to clear within ourselves. That's something that we can actually work with and do some forgiveness with. And Ho'oponopono is one of the very simplest ways that I've ever come across to do any self-forgiveness and loving ourselves. It's something that I came across because I'm a Hawaiian healing practitioner, healing massage practitioner, I should say. I have studied and practiced Lomi Lomi massage for years, and it's a really beautiful healing massage. It's a combination of energy work. If anybody does Reiki and any energy channeling, it's a combination of that and hands-on physical massage in a very lovely flowing way. So and part of Lomi Lomi in traditional Hawaiian spirituality was to look at the whole body with herb cleansing in and out, and with soul cleansing with Ho'oponopono and different forgiveness and loving, self-loving rituals. So that's how I kind of discovered it, and it has come up in my life in various different ways over the years, and different ways to sort of practice and study it. But yeah, it's incredibly powerful, and so I'm just going to share with you about it. I have made some notes because, as I say, it can be quite a complicated subject, and it's made to be more complicated than it is, so I'm trying to kind of get it down to sort of essence. So, as I said, it's self-awareness and healing, which in an updated version of an old Hawaiian healing ritual. It releases memories or programs which are stored in our subconscious. So these memories are activated by our thoughts. We're only conscious of a tiny portion of these millions of thoughts. And when a thought comes to mind, even without us realizing it, it automatically activates a memory, which is stored in our subconscious mind, and then sometimes that manifests itself as a problem for us. So if that's not a great memory and it's triggering a way that we've had of dealing with that memory, it can manifest as calling it a problem, a way of that we are not dealing with a situation in life to the best of our ability. Mm-hmm. Recurring problems are memories that occur throughout our lives. If the intellect worked by itself, it may not resolve these problems, but only conceal them. But since any problem is a projection of our mind or memory or program, they'll come back in another situation as soon as they're activated by our thoughts again. So when I try to solve them myself, I may fail. So doing any kind of conventional therapy, unless you get right back to that original memory, which is another thing that I have, I've done lots of work with that, with journey work, and with some of my training going back to using mindfulness and the original memory and clearing that. So there are ways of doing that, but this actually just fast tracks all of that, and is a surefire way to get back to that very original memory and clear it. What we really want is to clear or delete or release these memories and programs. When we say the Ho'oponopono ritual to the divinity within us, it neutralizes and erases those painful memories which are stored in our subconscious mind, a little like a computer reboot, and transforms these into pure love. We're asking love to rectify the manifestation of this problem. And it recognizes that we're all perfect, okay? We as beautiful human beings or beautiful beings of this earth are all perfect. What is imperfect in us is our memories and programs stored in our subconscious mind that we share with others. So that's when we get into not being quite so perfect, because we've got all these ways that we deal with things. Mm-hmm. Nobody can guess what our next thought will be, because thoughts come from your subconscious mind. So, as I don't have control over what will be my next thought, I can choose to act on it or not. And that act means clearing these programs and memories that manifest themselves as problems. Mm-hmm. We can do this by saying to ourselves, and this is the Ho'oponopono ritual, okay? So we can do this by saying to ourselves, I love you. This is so simple, okay? You're going to think this is just too simple to work with. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So just those 4 statements. I love you because I'm part of the divine and therefore perfect. I'm sorry that I have expressed this problem in my life. Please forgive me. I'm asking for myself so that I'll be releasing it. Thank you. Thank you for this problem so that I have another chance to clear it. And thank you that this problem has been resolved. So by saying these 4 statements, it reaches the subconscious mind, and we are releasing these painful memories that cause problems in our lives. It's a way of going beyond traditional means to solve problems in our subconscious and in our life. What I have to do is be 100% responsible for everything that appears in my life. By saying a Ho'oponopono and letting God, or your subconscious mind, or divinity, or whatever you want to call it, cancel and clear these memories and programs, then what is best for you will appear in your life. So it was a lovely quote that I came across when I was sort of going through all of my notes, which I had to read about 4 times, but I thought, wow, that just, I don't know, something about it that I really like. The physical is the expression of memories and inspirations taking place in the soul of self-identity. And I don't know where that comes from. It sounds to me like a Rudolf Steiner quote or one of those, but it's possibly Hugh Len. The physical is the expression of memories and inspirations taking place in the soul of self-identity. If we change the state of self-identity and the state of the physical world, if we change the state of self-identity and then the state of the physical world changes. When your soul experiences memories or problems, you can also say to yourself silently, so this is some more advice from Dr. Hugh Len, who's sort of going deeper into levels of Ho'oponopono. Say to yourself silently, I love you, dear memories. I am grateful for the opportunity to free all of you and me. I love you can be repeated quietly again and again. I love you can be used even if you are not conscious of what the problems are. And then finally, a little quote from him saying, memories never retire unless you retire them. So that's all I've got as far as notes. And I just wanted to do a short meditation and using the Ho'oponopono ritual with you guys. But I've just tried to keep that kind of succinct and just little bullet points that I've that have really sort of touched me on it, and they've sort of made sense. There's a lot of stuff out there that gets very into the sort of metaphysical and the we are all one, and whatever we do has an impact on everybody else. So if you cleanse yourself, that has this impact on the whole world around you. And I totally believe that, but actually it kind of can muddy the waters in what we're trying to do, which is clear ourselves. And if you can hold on to that concept and not get sort of sidetracked in, well, how does it clear everybody else, and how did Dr. Hewlin clear a whole hospital for criminally insane by just doing this himself, which he did, and the whole hospital, you know, was closed down in Hawaii in the end because there was no need for it. And extraordinary work that people have done with this, especially him. We kind of, our minds love stories and trying to kind of make sense of things, and actually we don't need to make sense of it. We don't need to hold on to the different stories. It's interesting, yeah, reading different things that he's done with it, but actually at essence it is cleansing ourselves, and it's a beautiful way of being able to just really love and nurture ourselves more. And forgive ourselves, and in that, then for me it's meant that I've been able to live without I was going to say without judgment, and I mean I'm human, and obviously I always have, you know, like that's, I can't live without judgment, but I think I spent a lot of time feeling really judgmental of myself and therefore other people as well, and I've been able to let that go, and that mainly through this way of being, actually, and really living this and using it as much as I can whenever anything's come up for me, and it's been really, really helpful. So Frid, did that make sense from what you've known about Ho'oponopono as well? What did you feel that was?
I think it was a lovely summary and very, very helpful to me to hear it again. I think, yeah, it worked for me.
Okay. So any questions on that?
I actually have one extremely complicated question, and I don't know whether I should ask it now or next time. And it has to do with that I actually think it's too complicated. And I think the advice is good to simply start working on ourselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to ask you later, and then I would actually like to address that, but not now. Because
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe let's have a chat about it separately, and then we can discuss it. Yeah. But also, I mean, it reminds me, when you said that, of like, you know, just starting doing the work, it reminds me of the amount of times that I've gone and done a consultation with somebody with their animal friend, and there's been all sorts of health and behavior difficulties. And I could have implemented all sorts of different things in that first session, and actually what has been proven to me time and time again is if we just start with the very basic foundation of mindfulness and connecting on that very still level, and just being, without trying to do animal communication or animal healing or anything, just sitting with that animal and being in the moment, and just having that intention of sharing peace. It's absolutely amazing how many times that can be the answer in itself, and there's nothing more that's needed to be done. So actually sometimes just really simple, just going back to, you know, using those 4 statements and really feeling them.
Yeah, and you said that while you were explaining it, that, you know, there are all these explanations, but it suffices if you just go to these basics. And that's why I think that I'm going to hold on to my question, because I want to try this first and then experience it with you and then let it sit, and then see whether the question is still there. And if it's still there, then I'll ask you. And if we think that that's important, then we'll share it with everybody. How's that?
Yeah, no, that sounds great. And same with anybody who's watching this. If you know, if you have a question, and actually sitting with this and going through the meditation and going through the process doesn't answer it, please do ask me. But just, you know, being open-minded and open-hearted to just try it first and see what the effect is. And going back to your beautiful thing, which is still lives with me. It's only a couple of weeks ago you mentioned it to me, but I just think of it the whole time. Is that suspend your
disbelief? That's the quote from Coleridge and Keats. Yeah, brilliant.
It's absolutely great. I love it. And it's so appropriate for everything that I do.
Yeah,
and myself as well. You know, I mean, I kind of like to question everything, and I like to be as grounded as I possibly can, and I don't want to jump in there and go, oh yes, this is, you know, I'm just going to jump on this bandwagon and do this, and because so and so teacher said this or that or the other. I like to kind of question everything, but actually suspending my disbelief and just, you know, just letting something sort of sit it's a lovely expression to use. So what I'd like to ask everybody to do is to think of
one more technical thing. You suggested that we switch the screen to just showing you. The one problem with that is that if there is a noise in my room, it will show my room and then we won't see you. So if everything keeps quiet, then that works, and then only you are visible. But if we Zoom usually jumps always to the person who has the limelight, but sometimes
let's leave it like this. This is fine.
Yeah, I think that's why who knows, if Rudy, if you're doing this thing and Rudy becomes loud, then we'll see the empty room because Rudy sort of drew the noise attention to him.
That's cool. That's cool.
So even though you're in the limelight, I'm just going to keep it like this because I always want to be able to see you. Okay. Okay, sorry. So
so what I'd like to ask you to do is to think of a situation when you last felt frustrated or angry or judgmental of yourself, cross with yourself, maybe that you didn't do something how it should have been done, or that you didn't quite meet your own high expectations, or whatever it is. Just a situation. It doesn't need to be a big thing, but just thinking of something that came up for you in the last couple of days. So just thinking about that a little bit, thinking about where you were, thinking about how that made you feel in your body. Okay. So you're really bringing that feeling up for you. And then I'm just going to go through those words with you. I'm going to say them out aloud, and then I just ask you to just say them to yourself in your mind, just feel them as strongly as you can. So the first sort of round, we'll just be saying the words, and then we'll do 3 or 4 rounds of this. And then by the time you get to the sort of 3rd or 4th round, your subconscious mind starts to know, you start to feel it in a different way in your body. So going back to that issue, that problem, that difficulty that you had. And you're not saying this to anybody else, okay? So if somebody upset you, you're not saying, I love you, please forgive me, to them. You're saying it to yourself for your reaction, what came up in yourself for, and what feeling came up when whatever happened. Okay, so going back to what we started with, just being aware of the seat underneath you, supporting you, and the floor underneath your feet. So the chair underneath you, supporting you, the floor underneath your feet, supporting you. Just being aware of your body and how that feels again. And going back to your breath. And taking a nice deep breath in and out. And just if you feel comfortable to do so, just lowering your eyes or closing them and going within a bit. So finding a nice quiet space within. And saying to yourself, I love you. I'm part of the divine and therefore perfect. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I've expressed this problem in my life. Please forgive me. I'm asking myself so that I'll be releasing it. Thank you. Thank you for this problem so that I have another chance to clear it. And thank you that this problem has been resolved. Taking a nice deep breath in and out of your body. Putting your hands on your heart chakra and feeling the warmth there and really connecting with your heart center. And saying, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Another nice deep breath in, and this time breathing in through your heart center. Just imagine that breath coming into you through your heart and out through your heart center. So really breathing in love and exhaling love. And as you breathe in love, really sending yourself that feeling of I love you. So you're really feeling it. You're not just saying it and thinking it. Really feel it as much as you can. On a deeper and deeper feeling level each time. So this round, really feeling each of these sayings, these little sentences. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Allowing your breath to come in and out of your body again. Concentrating, focus on back on your breath. Back to that feeling that you had before you started this. And just notice whether there's been any shift in that, just in this short little exercise of the first time of doing it. Or for maybe some of you here, you're very familiar with doing it, but maybe not the first time. But just being aware of how that situation that you pictured at the beginning is feeling for you now. So Frid, can I ask you how you're feeling now? Are you feeling any different about the situation that you pictured?
I think it was very beautiful and it was peaceful. I did it. It was a very first good, a good first step.
Okay.
I actually think I need to do another few rounds.
And it's, yeah, we've only done a few rounds and it's a kind of funny environment to be doing this on. So getting into as much of a mindful situation as you can, being as present moment and as still and in that lovely meditative space to start with, and then going through these rounds, and after each round just taking yourself back to really immersing in the present moment, being aware of the sounds around you, being aware of the smells around you, using your senses, and then doing another round can be really helpful. If you're dealing with something big, it's a nice idea to start with something smaller to start with, so you just get used to saying the words, and your subconscious will recognize those words, and you won't have to be grasping for them and thinking about them. When I first started doing this, I wrote it down on a little like a little business card and just had those sayings of, please forgive me, and it doesn't matter which order you do it in either. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, or please forgive me, thank you, whichever feels a nicer little mantra to you. And the other thing is that actually you don't need to, I think I sort of read at the end, I love you can be used even if you're not conscious of what the problems are. And yeah, the whole Ho'oponopono ritual can be used even if you're not aware of what the problems really are. So it's a lovely mantra to use when we're just wanting to just be really peaceful and just do some clearing and cleansing and self-healing and give ourselves some self-love. I find it's a really helpful thing to do, especially if we see what I do a lot, if I see animals going to an abattoir in a big animal transporter, just saying Ho'oponopono, and being aware of them, being aware of their presence, and also just saying I see you and I love you. Getting into that heart connection. And you're right to cry. It's like, yeah, it's when we're still and we allow our hearts to open, it's, the world is a funny place, isn't it? It's a really, we're so socially conditioned to not even feel it or question it, that it can sometimes just be like a complete sledgehammer over our heads when we think about what we have to actually cope with. This morning, because there's not been very much traffic on the roads, when I'm going to the sanctuary, I haven't really seen very much. This morning, when I was driving through the middle of Petworth, I was following this van with this very cute lamb on the back, really cute picture of a lamb, and then as it turned the corner, a really lovely little calf on the side. And I looked at the sign writing as I got closer, and it was some Cooper's Food Products van, and I was like, really? In what world do you think it's okay to advertise your food with, like, but we do, don't we? So again, that's like, I just felt like, and just saying that, because that's, again, that's stuff coming up in me that, I bought into that narrative completely in the past, of like, of eating animals and knowing that animals, and so yeah. So I think it helps me a lot, and I hope that it helps you guys, and just, if it's your first time of being introduced to Ho'oponopono, then just do Google it and have a look, and there's all sorts of different lovely mantras that are sung online as well, so you can do a meditation with all sorts of beautiful music and somebody singing the mantra, and just using that time to just have some really lovely quiet meditative space with that mantra just sort of going on in the background. That's really nice.
Oh, would you share your favorite one with us, and we'll put the link?
I will, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I just wanted to also share a little, having said it's not about stories, and we like to hold on to the stories, but I would like to share with you a story from the sanctuary that my first experience of doing this in the presence of the horses.
Oh yes, please do.
I was down in Devon doing teaching a Lomi massage training for a few days, and I came back. Somebody else was looking after the horses, and at that time Missy was the only ex-racehorse that I had and heard, and we'd been talking about Ho'oponopono, and all the time we were talking about it down there, I thought, I've never actually done this with Missy, and I feel so bad about myself being involved with the racing industry, so many years, and so highly involved with it, and I guess, it's what's driven me to want to kind of rehabilitate racehorses now, or ex-racehorses now, because I know all of the suffering that they've gone through, and just try and sort of help and model a way of doing rehabilitation and giving them a life in a really beautiful way, so that our small little herd of ex-racehorses that we have isn't obviously going to touch the surface of all of the hundreds and thousands that are needing home, but just to try and model a different way of being with them. So I came back, and I just stood in the field with her, and I just went through this four statements, and I was just standing there silently saying it to myself, and she literally had tears coming down both cheeks. I thought it was like a weepy eye to start with, and I was again back to grounding and questioning and everything, and I was like, that's like coincidence, and And then I looked at her straight on from both eyes, and she was literally, tears were coming down her face.
Oh my God.
It was like the most extraordinary feeling of like, yeah, blew me wide open. And I was just like, wow, this stuff is so powerful. How beautiful that she can feel that amount of, yeah, just me being able to, yeah, forgive myself and be okay with myself being a part of this thing that has been so painful in her life. And yeah, it was another huge step in our healing together, and the way that, you know, the way that the trust and bond had sort of established together with us. But it was beautiful. And I've generally at the end of retreats, I try and sort of throw it in as a let's just go, and before we go, just finish by doing these little 4 words, and you can go and research them yourself, and don't make it as part of the retreat, but just let's go and stand and do some Ho'oponopono and say goodbye to them. And quite often they will all just kick up their heels and take off in absolute joy, or all really kind of like, so there's something that just gets felt on that very, very hugely energetic, powerful level by animals. And I love that, because animals they can't, you know, there's no lying, they just feel and they express on a level that, you know, they're not trying to kind of please you or kind of go, oh, yeah, I felt this or that or the other. They just are in the moment, and they just express themselves. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to do. I urge you all to just be in the presence of your animals as you do this, and clearing for yourself, but actually, yeah, just being aware of, it's lovely for them to feel that amount of self-compassion for yourself, and healing for yourself, and asking for forgiveness for something. So that's, yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's really touching.
So yeah, I feel very lucky to have come across it, actually, because it's, yeah, just the sort of ways that my Hawaiian healing practice has kind of merged with my mindfulness practice, has merged with my animal healing, and all of my different passions as well have all come together in this sort of way that just, it all works together, you know. It's all love. I think that's, you know, at its essence, it's all love and it's all healing. And it just, yeah, it's so lovely to sort of witness them thriving with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to share it with you, and I hope it made sense for everybody. And I guess the thing is, it doesn't need to make sense, actually. It's just, it's on a feeling level. It's a healing that you can give to yourself.
Well, I'm glad we recorded it, because I think in the beginning, at least for me, it'll be easier to actually do it along with the recording. And yeah, and then take that as a springboard.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Okay, lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hang on, I'll stop the recording first.